Good evening, Tom Ginn, Elevate Your Profits. I'm co-hosting tonight, and I'm going to bring in my co-host, Mark Gassert, and then we're going to introduce our guest, which I'm extremely excited to introduce our guest here in a moment. But good evening, Mark. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing tremendous. I'm doing really tremendous. Can't wait for this guest to appear. I think he's going to, Tom, I think Abie's going to put all the myths aside about what he does and how it works and ACN. And I'm not going to steal his thunder, but I'm really looking forward to what he's going to bring to the table tonight. And it's things that are near and dear to everyone's heart, how to save money, how to make money, and he's going to expound on that this evening.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to, since the short time I met AB here a while back, this is a man of integrity, a man that's a businessman, and I'll let him share his story. And he's making an impact with a lot of people by saving money, but also helping people understand there's different ways to earn money as well. But I like to, Mark, just sort of establish what Elevate Your Profits is, and we'll just talk a little bit about that. Our whole platform is to help individuals that may be aspiring and have a desire to go into business, don't know what avenues to go, existing solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses. And we bring in guests that share their wisdom, their knowledge, what they're doing in business, how they're succeeding. They share their stories, their trials, their tribulations that everybody goes through in business. And so, anything else you'd like to share to the audience?
Well, do you mind if I read these two quick clips here? They're not long. I think we have to just to let you know that this is a real person. This isn't fantasy land. We're not hyping this up. This is truth, and it's all about trust, help, and care. And this is what pretty much AB's all about. I'm just going to read you one or two little statements here. AB is the genuine article. He is truly passionate about helping others achieve a level of success that most only dream about. He's solid in his keen understanding of fundamental business practices, and he is an inspirational entrepreneur with drive and passion to help others. And the last one I'm going to read is AB is an amazing entrepreneur. Not only is he great at what he does, he's an all-around general nice guy and very personable. And he's always willing to help and teach those who want to dedicate the time and energy, and is always available to offer advice. So if you fall under this category, I highly recommend Abie Gabor. So I think that's tremendous that, some of his business associates think of him in that caliber.
Wonderful. Great. Well, AB, you ready, bud? Here we go. We are live. Welcome to Elevate Your Profits.
Thank you for having me. Those were amazing testimonials that you read, Mark, on my behalf. I'm humbled. I appreciate it significantly. So I'll jump into it. I'll tell you what my story is. So for 33 years, my background is as a retailer. So for 33 years, I owned 6 supermarkets in the metropolitan New York area. And I bring that up to let you know that I was a very busy guy in that industry. Hundreds of employees, lots of moving parts. You can imagine, it's early mornings, late nights, every weekend, holidays, so on and so forth. But we had a great run. Family business. I was partners with my brother for decades. My dad as well. He passed 19 years ago. And I learned great mentorship from them and each to each other as well. But I always felt that in life there was another calling that was going to come my way. So this is part of the story that I want to share with you. So in February of 1994, at that time I was almost 32 years old, not quite. And I was driving from one location to another winter day. We had a lot of snowfall that winter. It was a beautiful sunny day, so there was a lot of meltdown. And I was driving along the perpendicular roadway of the runways of Kennedy Airport, and a Toyota pickup truck hydroplaned, lost control, went over the barrier, and hit me head on.
Wow.
Wow.
Boom. Dashboard, I was in a Saab convertible. Dashboard fell on my foot. I was stuck. The jaws of life took me out of my car, and I was actually feeling pain in multiple locations, but thankfully I was alive. And I went to the hospital, and what ended up happening was I was there for 45 days. And this was the beginning of my relationship with my wife, who at that time wasn't my wife. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend, and we were dating for a couple of months, once a week, sometimes twice. We went away for a week, so our relationship hit a new level. The next day I get home and this happens. She's like, "Whoa, what's with this guy? He's not calling me after we just spent a week together in Mexico." Anyhow, my best friend calls her. She stayed in the hospital with me every day. She came and visited. So it was like my angel came to me. And then lo and behold, we ended up getting married. Our relationship reached another level because she saw my positive outlook was just that I was just happy to be alive. So I just knew that I needed to have a platform to share the story. Now in business, look, as a supermarket owner, I didn't really have that much of a platform to share this type of thing. And I was always part of what I used to do so many times for so long was like I was a mediator amongst people, amongst my employees. So and that was a big role of my work. And so it was not just that, yeah, I knew how to buy merchandise properly. I knew how to save on expenses, so on and so forth. But so anyhow, everyone continues to do what they do every day, and they just they don't open their eyes to other opportunities. So many years later, I'm going to say, I don't know. It could have been 20 years after that. I was introduced into what I currently do now on a full-time basis, and that's work with a company called ACN. And what that's all about. So what happened was, and I'm going to be very transparent with our audience, we had a great run in the supermarket industry for a really long time. It's a great business. I always felt that it was recession-proof because no matter what, people had to eat. And in fact, during bad times, people would go out to restaurants less, so they would eat. They would stay at home more. So business, it would almost get better. However, what ended up happening is it's not competition increased significantly. And what do I mean by that? We always had other supermarket chains that we competed with. Our niche was fresh foods always. We dealt with a lot of produce. We had huge deli departments, but then there were a lot more players in the game. The Costco's, Target, every single drugstore that you go into has a couple of aisles of food now. If you go into a Walgreens or a CVS, even the gas stations are all selling cases of water. Every little bit took away. So it became more and more difficult as time went on. So both myself and my brother, we started thinking about other avenues of, where else can we create another stream of income from. So we looked at other businesses. We even went to Franchise Expo to look at other franchises. Nothing really hit us. Nothing dawned on us. Then I was introduced into this concept of ACN that I want to share with our audience here. So this is a company where it was introduced to me where they could save you money on your bills of essential services that we all have, want, need, and use every day. And what does that mean? Like you're depending on what states you live in, they might vary a little bit, but it's your gas and electric, it's your wireless bill, which everyone has, internet connection, TV, alarm systems, payment processing, identity theft protection. So a bunch of these are everyone has here in the United States. So I always thought, well, you know what? I was doing this anyway. I was buying my energy from third-party suppliers since it deregulated in the early 2000s. I live in New York. New York was one of the first states that deregulated. 20 states are now. So I was open to this. The credit card processing is what really opened my eyes to this, because every single year, my fees kept going up. Not my rates, but my fees, because people were spending less and less money on cash. But then when this was explained to me, they said, by the way, if you like this, there's another layer to this where you could actually make money off of your bills. So I said, so in essence, imagine this, you're changing your liabilities into assets. So I said, okay, you now change the subject on me. So now I'm going to change it. So I want to talk about making money. I don't want to save anymore. I've been saving money on these bills for decades. How do you make money off of bills that you have to pay for anyway? This is for people that own businesses, as well as people that are just homeowners or renters. As long as you have a bill, you can save, but while you're saving, you could actually make money. So the more I learned about this, the more I liked it. And why? Because on a very basic level, this just makes sense. You're paying these bills at a rate that less than you normally would pay. And on top of that, you're also making a percentage back of what you can make, that you can make money on the bills as well. So the more I learned, the more I liked, I got into it. And I just I'm doing this now for 5.5 years or so. And I'll tell you, it's a different way of making money, but it's incredible. And the thing that's most incredible, well, there are a number of things, but the fact that you make money residually, you get a customer one time. So imagine this, I'm doing this for 69 months. 69 times I have gotten paid on my gas and electric, on my wireless bill, every single month. When I pay that bill, I get a percentage back. That now, and it's not only your own bills, it's all of my friends that just wanted to save money. Every single month when they pay their bills, you get paid back. And this is cumulative. This grows and grows and grows. And the percentages are significant. We are now making on our own bills 20% on every single bill that people are paying. People that are, let's say, realtors that might be watching here, if they were able to make 20% on a sale of a house, I mean, that's crazy amounts. You know, the biggest commission is 6%, and that's usually split between the buyer and seller. And then you usually have to split it with the, house, so to speak, your Keller Williams or your Houlihan Lawrence or whatever it might be. So then your 3% might become 1.5%. Now, the numbers could be significant because it could be $1 million home. So 1.5% of $1 million's not too bad. But imagine this, on the same sale, they could make money on their client's electric bill every single month, month after month after month, because it's a perfect concierge service for a business like that. But what I love more than anything is the association of people that I've come in contact with as a result of this. It's I don't have a love for these services, but it's just, like I said before, on a basic level, it just makes sense that you can get paid on bills. We have to pay these bills forever. Unfortunately, they're not the type of bills that you can pay off. If somebody wins the lottery and they go to Verizon and say, listen, how about I just give you, 15 grand and we call it a day for life? They'll say, no, it doesn't work that way. You got to pay that bill every month for however many months you have it. In fact, you'll get billed even after the month you pass, because they don't know that you passed.
Amen to that. Yes.
It is what it is. So anyhow, but as I was saying before, I've met some amazing leaders within this group. And what I'll tell you is this, right around the time that I started this journey, this ACN journey, I also started my path of personal growth, which I've talked with Mark about a lot, which I just love more than anything. And one of the things that we promote more than anything is constantly working on yourself. And when it comes to businesses like this, I mean, it could be any sales business. You really have to just, have, you have to persist. You have to have great integrity, and you have to persist with the proper posture. So it's that constant persistence that sometimes is a little difficult for people. But if you're learning the right way and you're putting the right stuff in your mind, you know that you can get past any type of obstacle that might be in the way, or excuse me, I don't even like to refer to them as obstacles. It's just, it's the nature of people. And that's what we deal with. And that's, and it's the nature of any sales that we have, that one might be in. The supermarket industry was a little different. I didn't really think of myself as a salesperson. If somebody was shopping through the store and let's say they bought, a package of ground meat to make hamburgers, I wouldn't tell them, well, we have the buns on sale, you should check them out, or whatever, or ketchup. People buy what they want to buy. You just have to merchandise it properly. That's what I did. And obviously have the right pricing in place. But when it comes to this, all we're really asking people to do, and another thing is we give back to the greater good. So every time we get a customer to sign up for a service that they're going to use anyway, but they're going to pay less for, we donate a meal to a child in need through Feeding America. And every month,
That's great.
these select services, we give away another meal. So I'm blessed to give away hundreds and hundreds of meals every single month. Nowadays, people are open. People always want to be philanthropic, but they're having difficulty even putting money on their own table, let alone being able to be charitable. So what is it? You're able to be charitable. It works three ways. When we speak to people, they're helping themselves because they're putting themselves in a better place on money that they were going to spend. So that's to have more money in their bank account so they could spend more on the economy, because nowadays with inflation, it's really bad. But by the way, that's one of the reasons why the government encourages this deregulation of energy and why it will grow to all 50 states. So people are helping themselves. They're helping their friend instead of just the shareholders of the big conglomerates, and they're feeding a child all at the same time. So it's a true win-win-win paradigm. And when we speak to people about it, we let them know if they're open to want to create a stream of income. What does that mean? While they're saving whatever the percentage is, and it's always different. It could be 50% on some bills. Sometimes it's 5%. Because it all depends on the deal that someone has. They can make that percentage on their bill, that 20% that I was referring to. So when I explained this to both Tom and Mark, it clicked immediately. It wasn't a long conversation. They said, this is something that belongs in my repertoire because I know so many people that I could help with this. And, that's why we're all here and we're talking about this. But so now through these trainings that I give with ACN and I teach people, I'm also able to use this platform to share my story, because you know what? Maybe that'll motivate someone else that's really down, that might have gotten injured with whatever it might be, to stay, as long as someone has a proper work ethic, we're here to help you grow personally and professionally, so that you could have more money in your bank account, and you could also become a better person with the people that you affiliate yourself with. So that's just part of the story for me to share right now. I've been doing a lot of talking so far. I'll let you ask me some questions, and we'll go from there.
Well, I do have some. I'm going to turn over to Mark. Then I'm going to bring reference back to a couple of things that you said. And but go ahead, Mark. I know you got some questions, and I want to bring some points up.
And I'm going to also allude, man, you even grew up in the Bronx. New York, so you're very articulate, sir. So I appreciate that. I didn't hear any superlatives this evening, although if I noticed Chris Roush is out there, he wouldn't mind if you did. But what I was going to say, AB, is this: what you're offering are opportunities, solutions for. And when I say this, everybody laughs, but for the common person out there, that hey, here's an opportunity for you. Maybe you're working, maybe you're not, maybe you're in between jobs, maybe your business isn't clicking the way it should right now for whatever reason. But here's another outlet for you to take advantage of. And this is not astronomically expensive to get involved in this program. I'm not getting into that, but I don't want to steal your thunder. But what would you tell somebody that's thinking about doing something like this? I mean, now's a great time to look at these opportunities. They're everywhere. But
so what I'll tell you about this, and this is I've come across a lot of opportunities. To me, this makes more sense than anything, because this is service based. We are not asking somebody to buy, and I say nothing ill against any other company. I want you to know that when it comes to this happens to be one of these network marketing models. And I had no idea what network marketing was before I was introduced to this. I was 53 years old at the time. I thought Amway was a religious organization where people would go every week and pray. And I don't say that with any disrespect. I had no idea what it was. I thought Avon and Mary Kay were kiosks in department stores next to Lancome and Estee Lauder, just to show you how much I paid attention when I go to a department store. So anyway, what I can tell you when it comes to an opportunity like this, it just makes sense. We're not asking someone to buy some skincare or some vitamin or whatever it might be that they might change their habits down the road. We're not saying, listen, you ought to try out one of these things. It's really cool. Everyone's got one. Or there's this thing called electric. You ought to try it, or internet. Everyone has it already. We're just offering it at a reduced rate. But when it comes to the opportunity, this is, as long as, let me just back it up. Because Mark, you said at this time is a great time. What I can tell you is this, and I say this also with all due respect. I know that during this period of pandemic, a lot of people have experienced loss or illness. But what I can tell you with regard to our business, it has boomed during this period more than ever. And the reason is as follows. We are in a period where we're doing everything virtually. We're meeting on Zoom. When we explain to people, we just say, just come on a Zoom and you'll hear an overview and explanation of the business for about 15 minutes. And you'll either like it or you won't. And if you like it, that's great. And if you don't like it, that's great. We're just really here to share information. At the end of the time, all we do is a free review of your bills. The worst thing that we could tell someone is you have a great deal and we can't help you. So I'm going to give an example to our audience now. All right. We're in 2 different time zones. We're in 3 different states. We're all partnered together. I'm in New York. Mark's in Georgia. Tom's in Wisconsin. All right. We've yet to meet each other live, yet we've partnered together. And this type of thing happens all the time, every day, because all we do is meet people and they introduce us to other people that they say, this person I think would be interested in hearing about this. And that's all the heavy lifting that we do, is that we explain what it is in a very short period of time. So as long as someone has a great work ethic, and what does that mean? That they're just willing to ask people, if they want to either look at other ways of making money, creating another stream of income, or at the very least, see if we can put you in a better place and help you out with some of your expenses that you normally have, that you have every month. That's really it. We get customers and we get customer getters. And if someone's a customer getter, they're a customer as well, because while they're saving, they're making as well. And all the while we're helping children. So it doesn't matter if you're graduated from Yale or you just got out of jail. It's an equal opportunity for everyone. And that's really the truth.
AB, one of the things I teach people or bring people's attention, there's 8 significant things that affect our wealth building strategies. And one of them that I just put up here is inflation, not understanding how to solve that inflation. You know, inflation right now is projected to be a double-digit inflation coming up this year. You know, most people get a 2% pay raise. What's the chance you go into your employer and asking for an 8% increase just to stay even? That's not going to happen. He's probably going to say, I was going to come back and take your 2% away because I can't afford it anymore. So solving inflation, there's only 2 ways you can solve it. Number, reduce your cost, okay? Without giving, a lot of people say reducing costs, I give something up. But if you can keep the same level of service at lower money, you're beating inflation. And number 2, if you have $50,000 your income and inflation's at 10%, you need $55,000 income to buy the same goods and services this year. So
right.
How do you make up inflation? And what I've learned through the years, and maybe, is that residual income, that you have an opportunity to increase your income by turning on a switch. And that is based on a business model that you can create, that residual income. So that's what excites me about what I've been doing for years. I've been teaching these principles, applied to myself, but I'm in a cost reduction business. When I looked at ACN, it just made so much more sense. Another thing I can help a client with. I don't have to sell anything.
Absolutely correct.
I don't have to sell anything. So we're in a big state of inflation, and that's a wealth building killer. And if you can just cut your cost, you're now in a position to not take the big hit long term financially. So I like the concept you said there, taking a liability, a monthly bill, reduce the cost. That's a win. Number 2, you get paid on that. You've now taken a liability and make it an asset. An asset's anything that's going to give you a return. And so that intrigued me just like it did you. But what, you, like you said, you were looking, you and your family, you've been in the grocery industry for years. And I tell you what, that is a tough business. Probably as tough, if not tougher than a restaurant, right? But you looked at a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities out there. Most of them are out of the reach of most people. It takes capital to start a business. Most businesses fail. 80% fail within the first 5 years. They put their life savings up on the line. Then you look at franchises. Guess what? To get a legitimate franchise that's been around for a while, you're talking $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
100%. No doubt about it.
A lot of people misconstrue what network marketing and MLM is. It's nothing more than any other business. It has a business structure, product is created, and a marketing system, but there's no huge capital investment to take advantage of it. And a lot of people don't understand what network marketing is. A pyramid? What, could you
you're so spot on. One of the things that I've learned in this, and I hear it often from even our co-founder says it, part of the problem with our business or other network marketing companies is this. Sometimes, so in order to become an independent business owner at ACN, it costs $199 one-time fee. That's your franchise fee. $200, $199. Now, some people will, unfortunately, they look at it and, I treat this as a business because the only way you're going to get paid as a business is if you treat it as a business. If you treat it like a hobby, hobbies cost money. They don't pay you. So now, if you added 3 zeros to that, for argument's sake, which there are some franchises out there, even cost reduction franchises out there that cost over $100,000, all of a sudden they're going to treat it with a little more respect. But that's the beauty of this opportunity, why we said anyone could do it, because you don't need the capital. All right. People spend $200 on a dinner that they don't remember they even ate, 3 days later, or whatever the case may be. So that Now it wasn't the 200 what excited me. First of all, when I joined, it wasn't 200, it was 500. And secondly, I actually thought that it was 500 a month. I didn't think, and I still thought it was a good deal. So because it's but it's a one-time fee, and it's imagined to be like an administrative fee, because all we do is we get paid based on customers that we acquire. It's a customer acquisition company. So that's really what we do. If we get no customers, we make no money. And how do we get customers? By just speaking to them and letting them know that they're actually could put themselves in a better position while they're helping a friend and feeding a child. That's the foundation of all of it here. But you're Tom, you were spot on with all of that. Money saved is money earned. So that's why in the supermarket industry, the profit margins are really narrow. That's why I was always looking at these expenses. So my mindset was there. So when I saw this concept, it wasn't, when we were looking to maybe buy some kind of franchise, we knew we didn't want to go back into food. We did that for so long. And there were other industries that were somewhat interesting, but nothing really clicked. And so we never really jumped into any of them. When I saw this just made sense on a very basic level. This just clearly makes sense. And, that's what makes the world go round. Some people love it. Some people don't. And that's okay. But, and it's funny when we speak to people and they don't even want to look at their bill to see if they could save money. You just have to walk away.
I'm a big Warren Buffett guy. He's a brilliant investor. I'm not talking about that. I love some of his principles. And this is a sad fact about most, I'm a personal financial coach. We're financially illiterate in this country. People don't understand money and that type of thing. And so they get in debt and they don't understand inflation and so on and so forth. I love what Warren Buffett says. 2 rules to win financially. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1.
Yeah.
And keep it thinking, if you're not cutting costs, you're losing money. You could put that money back. That's loss. Like he says, if I can buy my socks to socks and get a bargain on it, I'm buying. That's wisdom. And guess what? Most people are out there. Oh, well, maybe I got to take a half hour and do this or do that. No, I'm not going to do it. You just lost millions of dollars of opportunity in your lifetime. So that's my message out there, is that become aware of money. And if you don't understand how money works, you're going to lose. Plain and simple. And even business people don't understand money and they lose. Right? Yeah,
you're 100% right.
Yeah. So that's what I love about the company ACN is we're not asking somebody to spend money. Dollars, they may want something, but they can't afford it. But we're not convincing them to do that. They're already spending it.
That's 100% right. It's just a brilliant concept. And, we have 4 gentlemen that started this thing. And what's happened over the years is that it's grown now to, besides being in all 50 states, we're in 27 countries. Naturally, in some of the other countries, the services are a little different because it all depends on what's deregulated, what government legislates. But it continues to grow, and with much more global expansion. And besides that, our portfolio of services continues to grow. So in the period of time that I'm in it, there's significantly more choice than there was even when I started. And when the company started 28 years ago, all they sold were long distance phone minutes. But it was a vision, and that was a very difficult sale. They were already late in that game. That was their competitors were MCI, WorldCom, and that was the beginning of Sprint and AT&T. And it was like the wild, wild west. Whenever they would get a new customer, one of these big companies would issue a check for $50 or $100. And if you signed that check, if you endorsed it, that gave them the right to go back. And they lost customers every day. So it was a constant battle. So that bill, by the way, capped out at $15. So the opportunity that we have today is much more significant than then. And what's crazy is this. So people are like, well, it's an established company already. Why would you, you're late in the game. We're really not, because even though we're in this for 28 years, I don't think I would have been part of this opportunity 28 years ago when it was only long distance phone minutes. And even with 28 years in the business, we're still less than 0.5% market share. I mean, there's so much room for growth. And that's because these industries are trillion-dollar industries if you add them all up. So, and if everybody we just get a little piece of people's bills, it's significant.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Is and I know Mark's got something to say, but I just like to, people say, well, you're going to save me, I'm not going to I'm just throw hypotheticals out there just for the sake of it.
Sure.
Well, you're going to save me $30, $50 a month on my phone. A lot of people don't understand what that $30 to $50 is. If you took $50 and put it away at market rate, what historical has been, in the next 20 years, that's $142,000. So $50 a month savings is a big deal. What if you saved $100 on the same? Share your story of how much you saved, and also tell people, how would you like to have your cell service free?
Free.
What would that do for your budget?
Exactly. So what I can tell you is this. So if somebody wants to become an independent business owner here, and you're also qualified to get 3 of our services for free. What are they? They're your wireless, they're your gas and electric, and they're your identity theft protection. So if I just add up, I haven't paid for those bills in over 4 years, maybe more. So that's approximately $5,000 a year that I'm not spending. Right off and that's by the way, you still get paid the percentage on it, even though you're not paying anything for it. So you're getting paid multiple times on the same service. And we can get into more details for anyone that's interested and wants to learn more about it. But that's significant. That's $5,000 a year, that you're not spending. How much do you have to make gross to earn $5,000 net? And then, you're going to pay these bills anyway. In 10 years, that's $50,000.
AB, I just want to point something out. That $5,000 is equivalent to about a $1.2 million asset paying. That's what the return would be. You just, by doing that one strategy, you just created $1 million asset because you're not spending that money.
Right.
That money's in your pocket.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand. That's how you become wealthy in this
100% correct. So that's just, another added value that we give to people. It's really, it's amazing. And by the way, even if you live in a state such as Tom, it's a non-deregulated state for energy right now. He could still get, but if he has friends that live in Illinois or in any of the 20 states that are deregulated, he'll still get that equivalent, so that it would offset the cost of his bill. Yeah,
that's crazy. Mark, go ahead. I know you're.
Well, I was gonna just say, when you saw this program, I have to ask you, did your brother get involved with you as well or not? Or
No, actually, well, this is what he did. He's involved with me in the fact that he supports me.
Okay.
And he's a customer of mine. He's not involved in the opportunity because he just didn't want, it just wasn't his bag to talk to people about this. And that's okay. What I've learned and what I've become more, look, this is the case in any business for anyone. In order to become decent, you have to be bad. So and then after you're decent, then you could be good. And then after you're good, you could be great. So it's like anything else. There's a learning curve when it comes to anything. And during this period of pandemic, I've become much more of a networker. And what does it mean? I just get to talk to people and I speak with them. And that's all we do with this as well, is I'm just sharing information. I'm never, ever, ever trying to convince someone to do anything, because you can't convince people. Either they'll do it or they won't, and that's fine. So it's also a matter, Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people. You have to know how to speak to people properly. You have to know how to listen to people. We have a lot of different trainings with trigger points, because people have different personality types. And depending on the personality type, that's what you go after. One of the beautiful things about ACN is, because of, there's some people that are in it just because they want to make the money. That's the shark type. That's the Mark Cuban type of personality. Okay, that's great. We can talk to them about it. We have the analytical ones, typically accountants, engineers, so on and so forth, like Warren Buffett. All right, that's okay. We could talk to them about the details of what we have. We have the people out there, that love to give back to the greater good. We talk to them about how we have a charity that we support every week or every month when you pay your bills. Or there could just be those people that just like to have a good time, and well, you know what? We have a great association of people that you just get to hang out with, and you get to work with, and you get to make money with. So depending on the different personality types, that's how you know how to direct the conversation. And you're not being, and people have multiple different aspects of their personality. So it's just a matter of, you're not misleading anyone on any level. You're just being professional at what you do, and speaking to them with the proper posture.
Tremendous. No, and that's one of you hit the nail on the head, and like dealing with different personality types. Not everybody's going to see it the way someone else does. They'll get in for their reason, and their why. That the why has to come before the how, and that's what you were talking about there.
100%. It's all about the why. Knowing why someone wants to do it, the why will drive them. They say, your why has to make you cry. But I'll tell you, I've heard so many amazing stories of people that have become successful at this, and the struggles that people have gone through to beforehand, and also even to get there. But those are all amazing things. Really, really incredible.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
The other question I had, Abie, what is the charity? What is it called when you're feeding is it have a specific name that ACN dubbed it, or?
Well, the name that ACN dubbed it is called Project Feeding Kids.
Okay.
But we partner with Feeding America, which is the largest food bank in the United States. Okay. So that's through Feeding America, Project Feeding Kids, is what it is. But now we go with that because people are more familiar with that. So ACN doesn't advertise. Feeding America does, though. So sometimes you might see commercials for, I think Subaru is one of the car dealerships that partners with Feeding America. Or I don't really watch that much TV, but I've seen on some of these late night shows like Jimmy Kimmel, they talk about Feeding America. And so whenever I see that, I always get very excited. I'm like, that's our food bank. So it's people are familiar with it. And I've been to some of their facilities, and they're very impressive.
Tremendous. And my last question is going to be, when you saw this, what were you thinking at that point in time, Abie? I mean, what just went boom, I'm doing this. I mean, what kind of caught your eye? Like you saw it and it's like, I'm in.
So I saw it. It made a lot of sense. And now as a business owner, it's funny. Sometimes people say, I don't want to talk to the business owners because, they're intimidated or whatever the case may be. As a business owner, this made the most sense to me, because why wouldn't I want to get paid on my own bills? As Tom said before, we talked about turning your liabilities into assets. It becomes an annuity, if you will.
Sure.
So my electric bill in a supermarket was $15,000 a month. I was paying $65,000 a year in credit card processing fees. So, these percentages add up pretty quickly. So as a business owner, it made sense to me. So right away started thinking about, I know a lot of business owners, and I know people that now you quickly learn about how some people are interested and some people are not so interested. And that's okay, because longevity equals credibility. So what ends up happening is the longer you stay in it, people do come back. It's all a matter of following up with them. So the fortune definitely is in the follow-up. So, you still doing that Zoom thing? That's the name of our energy company.
Yeah.
They forget, and that's okay. Or you still doing that phone thing?
Yeah.
That's okay. It's because you can never
Right.
run out of people, and especially nowadays with what we have going on with with Zoom and the ability to be able to connect and create these associations and friendships. You'll see we're like family here, which is an amazing thing, because everyone is out. It's in everyone's best interest to see that everyone does well. What I want more than anything is for each of you to blow past me. My goal is for you to out earn me and blow past me, and you say to me, Abie, I got this. Don't worry. If I need to call you as a third party or whatever, that's great. But we learn as we earn, and the goal is to just have people become as successful as they can doing it.
Yeah. Abie, we were talking about, this is a service reduced cost, and I feel good. I don't have to ask somebody to take money out of their pocket. They may not be able to, they may need it or want it, but they can't afford it. And I've never wanted to be in that type of business, because that doesn't resonate with my internal belief system. But, besides just this energy savings, they've got a service. I think a lot of people are not even aware about the problem out there. And that's in the area of protecting our identity. And I want to share this story, if you don't mind. One of my best friends in a mastermind, I've known him for about 5-6 years now. He was this close to losing everything in his bank account through identity theft. His bank caught it, stopped it, but he was that close to losing not a couple $1,000s or anything, a lot of money. Okay. And a lot of people aren't aware. So could you share a little bit about why it's
Absolutely.
so important to have something?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that actually is now our flagship service for a number of reasons. First of all, and most of all, it's something that everyone really needs, and only 15% of Americans actually have it. The other thing is that some people say, oh yeah, I got something from my bank for free, so I'm good. What identity theft is meant to do, yes, it does protect your bank account. It does protect your credit cards, but the credit card companies are there watching out for you as well if they see fraudulent activity. What it's really meant to protect is your identity, meaning your driver's license, passport, social security number, medical ID. So what happens is this. There have been so many data breaches out there on so many companies that we're all familiar with. So let me give you an example. The two biggest labs in the United States, where if someone let's say, has their blood drawn, and then they go to, let's say they had an annual physical, most likely it goes to either Quest Diagnostics or LabCorp. Those two companies have had data breaches. So, and what does that mean? They have your medical ID information because they were breached. I forgot how many millions and millions of medical IDs are out there now. For someone on the dark web to buy your identity, they could actually do a procedure in your name in a state that you've never been to. When it comes to our identity, unfortunately, we're actually guilty until proven innocent. In order to restore our identity, we need that backing. That takes legal, which is a significant expense. That's a lot of aggravation and also a lot of stress and anxiety, which doesn't lead to anything good. We'll cover people for up to $1 million with no deductible. what makes our plan more robust and better than anyone is recently we just also it's called ID Seal, our program. They just came out with something called ID Seal Protect, which will now protect a number of your devices, such as your laptop, your telephone, your tablet, anti-malware, antivirus type of thing at no extra cost. It will also protect your social media, which means a lot to some people. Now, it will also protect up to 10 children and their social media. So I'll give you another story. New business partner that just came on, who actually sells insurance, but the programs that the insurance companies offer, which again is at like next to no cost, won't cover you for $1 million. They'll cover you for $50,000. He put his 2 children on it. His 2-year-old daughter's social security number was hacked already.
Wow.
So they're going through the restoration process because who knows what? It could have been something very minor that maybe just someone entered the wrong number somewhere, but it could be something major. And they're trying to steal identities of children. It even happens sometimes that some of these social security numbers of kids are stolen before they leave the hospital after they're born. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know, they're saying that even to take out a mortgage, you might have to have identity theft protection because people take out mortgages not in their own name. Yeah. So it's very serious, Tom. I'm very glad that you brought it up because this is something that eventually everyone will have. So when it comes to this is one of the first companies that or one of the first services that we're offering that we're in on it, and it's pretty much in the beginning stages still because 85% of Americans still don't have it.
Yeah. Can I share something with you? My story of my good friend that caused my wife and I started investigating. I started looking at all the different programs out there, and then it's amazing how things happen. I was introduced to ACN, and I saw their program. It blows everything out of the water. I won't get into that, but this is something. As soon as I subscribed, guess what? I saw that my Facebook was somebody tried to breach that. So I got notified immediately. That was kind of interesting because a lot of times they will go through anything you do in Facebook or online. There's a trail that they can access to your credit cards or wherever. So that I immediately got notifications. I also got notifications. And I think this is important for parents that have children, is that I got notified that anybody is convicted of sex crimes or pedophilia, there's in my area within a mile and a half, there's 27 convicted sex offenders and pedophilias. Now, if I'm a parent, I want my kids walking to school. When I saw that, if I was a parent, I'd want to know when my kids walk to school, whose houses are they walking by that could be a threat to my children.
100%.
Assets. When I saw that feature and what it did, if I had kids today, that I would do that just strictly to make sure I know who's in my neighborhood, because there's a big problem out there. So it's not just identity theft. Just think about it as a parent. Any parents that are out there, definitely think about what type of service can let you know who's in your neighborhood that lives right next door to you, maybe across the street or the sidewalk your children walk down. I think that's a big point. I think it's a big point. So
it is. That's a great point.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of promotion of I've looked at all of them, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to share this with individuals.
For less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
It's very worthwhile.
Yeah. We lose more coins in our couch than it costs for the service, right?
Service.
It really does. You're absolutely right. And by the way, as an independent business owner, you could also get this one for free. So it's really, they do give back. They continue to give back. This is another great business principle of one of the reasons why, I tend to migrate towards leaders with whatever I do. And I've gotten to know a couple of these co-founders personally. So this is one of the things they say, they grow their business on a very methodical level on and not at a fast pace, because they want us to have warm relationship referral marketing the way we do. We don't advertise. But what they've always said is this: it has to be good for three entities, whatever we do. Number one, it has to be good for the consumer. They have to be able, there has to be a savings for them. It can't cost them more, otherwise we couldn't get it. Number two, it has to be good for the reps. People aren't going to do this, represent the companies without getting any money for their efforts. And number three, the company also has to make money while they're doing it. So, and you can't block out one of those three. As long as for the right price. So our pricing is pre-negotiated, set up in advance, so that we're on the same level playing field. It would cost me for the same program as it would for Mark, as it would for Tom, as it would for someone that's been in ACN for 28 years. It's the same price. It's not like, well, you've got so many customers, so you get a better deal. It doesn't work that way. It's the same price for everyone. The only difference is when you are when you're a rep, when you get a certain number of customers, you can get yours for free. That's the only, but that's the same for everyone. So that's the only difference.
Well, Abie, I know we could talk a lot about it, and I know there's a lot of, people have questions, want to know more. Mark and I are associated with you, so that's what's brought it on, and we bring people in to have great message, great value. Thank you for being here. How would people get a hold of you that want to know more specifically about what we do? I'm going to bring up, I think I got this here.
Contacts. I
put it on a scrolling down here. So
they can get in touch with me a number of ways. They can messenger me on I have my LinkedIn profile over there. I even have my email there. They could reach out on my to my email, and we'll respond back absolutely, and we'll answer any questions that anyone has. I even put my calendar link up there for someone to set an appointment if they wanted.
And all we would ask, Mark and I ask, is this: if they contact you, say, "How'd you find out about me?" Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Elevate
well,
your
put
profit.
It this way: they contact me. The first people I'm going to contact are you guys, because I want you to meet them with me.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's going to work.
Mark, anything else?
I just, really have to thank you for sharing your story. And, when you were talking about being in the grocery business, I was just kind of reminiscing. That was one of my first jobs, and, learned a lot. Was an independent grocer, and there is a lot of work that goes into that. In fact, none of his children took over the business because it's very demanding. I won't mention the name, but I do remember times he would on Sundays go in and do books and inventory, and it was insane, but a great person, a great individual. And of course, back in the day, you didn't have all these opportunities are out there like right now. And what we're doing, I kiddingly always share this with Tom. I mean, I always use this in an analogy to the cartoon. I'm dating myself, the Jetsons. Here we are talking on this contraption called a computer, and you're there, I'm here, and, we're communicating. And you brought up a very profound point. We've never met face to face to this day. And I have a lot of people I know through Facebook or whatever. I've never met them face to face. I know eventually one day it's going to happen.
Oh, it will. It will.
Like Robert Brooker out here, he is Mr. Canada. I call him the Canadian connector. By the way, is it in Canada? Can you?
Absolutely. So
there you go.
I didn't want to interrupt you,
right?
But ACN is very active in Canada. Right. And another thing that I could tell Mr. Brooker is in Canada, they have the ability to get their internet connectivity for free.
Hi, Lona. How you doing? Thanks for jumping on. I really want. Yeah, you could either reach out to AB or Mark or myself. My contact information is also been
Right.
scrolling through here. Um, Love to talk with you any way that we can help you.
It would be an honor and a pleasure. I really enjoyed speaking with the two of you tonight or this afternoon.
American
So that's a great question, Ron. At one time, that's what it was known as. But the fact that we've grown globally, they don't go by American Communication Network anymore. It's just known as ACN. But yes, when it first started, it started in Detroit, Michigan, in one city, in one state, and then it grew to all 50 states, and now it's global. So it's just ACN. But yes, it was American Communication Network when it first started.
Look at Robert. Interesting. I've been missing my 650 meg down and up on Bill.
Love you, Robert. I love you, man.
That's great.
I know you got a hard stop as well. So
right. Just Abie, thank you so much for sharing. I really got to know you a lot better, and on a different side of things. So
listen, I appreciate the two of you very much. I look forward to getting to doing more and more and more. Love this venue that we're on right now and this platform, and happy to join you guys as often as you wish.
Thank you.
Tremendous. Thank you.
Any last parting thought? Just any wisdom or anything about there that you'd like to share before we put you in the green room with the M&M?
I just want to tell people to continue to have an open mind with whatever you do, and to be willing to hear things out, because when you hear some information that you never thought you would hear before, one of these days, something that you're going to hear at some point, and it's all a matter of timing, could actually change your life. I can't believe that when I heard this information in my living room, myself and my wife, from a husband and wife, that information changed my life, because here I am now, and here we are now. So you just never know what one thing will lead to another. So to have an open mind, and it doesn't have to be ACN, it could be anything, but to please be open-minded, because the world is getting smaller as we know it. It truly is. There are millions of stories out there. I'm really incredible. I don't even. I'll just leave you with this last one. So there's someone that I just met the other day who just started with us and had a call with his sister that he said she lives in Charleston, South Carolina. I have an accountability partner that I met through Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, wow.
That he wrote. So I went, my personal growth journey started with him. He did this. He's teaching his success principles. So, and at the end of that week-long seminar, he said, pick a accountability partner, someone that's in your time zone. So I picked this gentleman who was an ex-FDNY NYPD guy.
Oh, wow.
And he moved to South Carolina, and he built a swim school. And this girl that I spoke to on the call, the sister of my business partner, said, wait a minute, I don't really live in Charleston. I live in Mount Pleasant. And the swim school that she has a 3-year-old son, the swim school that she goes to is my accountability partner's school. So you just never, the world is just getting smaller and smaller. So
Incredible.
Just be open-minded, and the universe will bring you to where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Well, my friend, Mark and I appreciate it. We'll put you in the green room, and Mark and I are going to wrap up. And if you got to run, please, I know you may have.
Thank you.
Right.
Please do so.
Thank you again, Abie. Appreciate it. Really do.
Thank you, guys. You guys are great.
Thank you. There we are.
Oh, he's blowing it up.
There we go. With full face here. We get
I think Warren Buffett would like this opportunity. Since you're a big Warren Buffett guy, I bet you he would probably say, you know what, average American, you need to take a look at this thing. What do you think?
If you really study what Warren Buffett says, he's all about network marketing. It's a great model for most people. He would endorse it. You just have to know some things about the industry you're in, what really satisfy you. Not all opportunities of business for everybody, but when you find that one that you can tie into on an emotional level, feel good about, and a company has a reputation doing the right thing, been around like ACN or some of the other companies I'm associated with, you're in a good place. So there's a process you should do. Warren Buffett does endorse network marketing, referral marketing, whatever you want to call it. People say it sounds like a pyramid. Well, I guarantee you work in a pyramid. What's your chance of becoming the president and CEO of that company? Here, day one, you're the CEO and president of your own company with any network marketing business. So, so good point about Warren Buffett. He promotes this type of opportunity for the masses.
So, Tom, why don't you tell us about Elevate Your Profits? You always talk about these 8 pillars and, Thursday nights and, what's this all about? And then I heard rumor there's like this consortium thing going on. There's other people involved. And do you want to share anything about that? Or?
Yeah, I'll just bring up a banner here. One of the things we want to do is bring attention to problems we all face financially. I mean, there isn't anybody out here that's listening to this isn't affected by what I call the 8 silent killers of wealth building strategies. Number 1, taxation. Number 2, they're not in this order: inflation, procrastination, not understanding that through multiple that wealthy people that we consider wealthy have multiple streams of income. How do you do that with different ways to create assets? So we bring attention to those problems, and everybody out here has one or all of them. How do you solve them determines your wealth. How are you going to move to the financial goal that you want? So that's what Thursday night's about. I uncover and identify those 8 principles so that you say, you know what? I need to know how to solve that problem. And what we have to offer is a solution. What AB was talking about is a solution. So that's the first phase. And also I'm associated, and Mark as well, in a business consortium of consultants that are in the business to help small entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and small businesses reduce cost in every category in a business budget. And we're typically saving in the healthcare space and as business 30 to 40% on that line item, which is the second highest line item in an employer's cost next to wages. So if you have a business that has, I've got one client that's going to save 42% of 150,000. That's a big number. And Mark is part of this consortium in as well. So that's called our consortium team. So if you have a business out there, we have other players that can help you in areas.
Yes.
Yeah. Any business that's out there, we just encourage you to take a good hard look at it. Give us a call. Anything else, Mark?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody that was here again. And, I know here are 2 older guys getting up here talking about this stuff, and I feel like a neophyte compared to you and some of these other people that are in the consortium. I mean, these are what I call master blasters when it comes to dollars and cents and educating people about what to do, how to do things. But I guess next week we have another guest, don't we?
Yes, you're responsible for our guest. I'm going to have you tell a little bit. I didn't put
oh man,
here, but this one,
I'll hold this book here, as you can see. It's The Accidental Gangster, Orlando Ori Spado. I know Ken Walls interviewed him, but what we're going to do with Ori is really cool. And by the way, he is from New York. He's a New Yorker, so here's another one. But he's going to talk about probably the good, bad, the indifferent. How he generated multiple streams of revenue on one side of the sector and what he's doing now in the legitimate world, so to speak. And one of the things, I did finish this book. It's a whopping, what is it, like 380 pages It's very intense. I I really enjoyed it. I got really engaged, man, and just cranked and just kept reading and reading. And he tells a story, but there's a lesson behind the story. And you got to read between the lines. And one of the things that Ori's doing with this book, I know, is for younger people to say, hey, don't go the route I went as a young guy. You don't want to go down that road. And he talks about the FBI and everything else, but we're going to get him to talk about some of the other the positive things that are out there today. And he's going to use this medium here, the live streaming, and it's incredible. You know, I mean, to be talking to a guy who's full of a lot of wisdom, and what I usually kiddingly say, this will definitely be, you know, educational, engaging, and it will be very entertaining with Ori.
Yeah, I'm excited. When you introduced me, I didn't see his interview on Ken Walls, and but when you talked about him, what you're finding in the book, I'm super excited. But also, I want to go back to Thursday night, our how to create a
Absolutely.
$1 million asset. The principles that we talk about is how you create $1 million asset, and register. It takes a registration to come in. You can go to the link right there, the link tree. There's a registration for how to create $1 million asset. As an added bonus, because I come from the financial services industry, 20 years, I had my own agency, insurance, securities, mortgages, and other financial instruments for 20 years. I wrote a book. I saw the problems of debt, and that's one of the areas in one of the wealth building strategy. I wrote a book 6 years ago, and anybody that shows us, it's going to be an electronic book. It's going to be re-edited and it's going to be published. So take advantage of the free offer here. If you register and stay to the end, you'll get the copy of my book, Understanding Debt and How to Impact Your Wealth Building Strategies. The myths around debt. That's an incentive to show up and stay. So you hear the whole story. Anything else, Mark?
That's pretty much it, Tom. I mean, you knocked it out of the park, man. And the book, man, that's a free book. So what the heck?
Yeah. And get past my grammar, we'll be okay. So as Grant Cardone says, who cares about the punctuation?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but anyway, no, it's just breaking down the myths and how, what the bill of goods have been sold by the banks and the financial services. And if you don't understand how the playing field's been set up, you're going to lose the game every time. I guarantee it. So hopefully it'll help everybody. Mark, anything else, my friend?
Well, I think that's about it. And I think we should sign off, and, we need to do our thing, and everybody else, dinner, right? Thank you again for being here this evening.
Yeah, thank you all our guests that showed up, sharing it out. We appreciate it much. Hopefully this will get into somebody's channel and make a difference in somebody's life, being in the right place at the right time. Mark, you're awesome. I appreciate you. And
thank you.
We're going to side out. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
See if I can do this right here. See if I can get to the right video here. Here we go.